Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more BSL action. This is game number 2 in the round of 4 between Gypsy and Dewalt. Dewalt able to take Gypsy down in what looked like pretty dominating fashion after a very strong speed shuttle attack to that main base. Gypsy was just unable to claw his way back on our first map, Wavelet. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to be how the series goes. Sometimes you get caught up in the early game, and against a player like Dewalt, he is just going to punish. So hopefully Gypsy can have a slightly stronger early mid-game and bring us into a big macro one. Let's see. The map is going to be Revolver. This can be a little bit tricky TVP, but we'll talk about that as we get into it. All right, and here we go. In the top left is Dewalt. And in the top right, none other than Gypsy. Okay, so, yeah, Revolver. Actually, these spots negate what I was going to talk about, which is the fact that Nexus First is really, really strong on this map. Because you can't really rush it in vertical spawns with Marine SCV Vulture. But yeah, that being said, this is horizontal spawns, so it's actually not that bad to try to bust it if they do go for that. So yeah, just throwing that out there. So we could see like a really excellent game here. I actually like the map Revolver. I think it's quite interesting and definitely want to see some more Terran vs. Protoss on it. I am hoping that Gypsy can really kind of bring his power into the game, because that last game that we saw, right, it did look really one-sided, and I mean, games definitely can look like that, and Dewalt is a great player, so don't want to shortchange him, but the games don't need to look like that, you know? Like, we can definitely get much closer games between these two. Now, Dewalt not making a gate, so it looks like he is going to go for that Nexus First that I was talking about. Based on this barracks placement from Gypsy, it's likely going to be a gas. We'll see in a second here. Of course, it does not have to be. Okay, it is a gas. Now, like I said, you know, with the barracks expand, or rather with the factory expand, you can bust in those horizontal spawns. So we'll see. Gypsy looks like he's going to scout to the south first. And as long as he does an end scout, he'll see this in time to adjust his build order to do a very powerful Marine SCV Vulture attack upon this Nexus. So that's what we're kind of waiting for. That's what we're going to see. If that's the choice he takes. He does not, again, have to do that, but I get surprised anyone opens with the build that Gypsy is and doesn't try to bust a close by Nexus First. That's like, Flash has said in the past that this is actually a big part of the reason to ever go for factory expands as opposed to gaseous expands, is so that you can bust that Nexus. You get those extra vultures in there and it really helps out. So we'll see the second Marine being made. Gypsy down to 1 SCV on gas, getting ready, saving up that money. He is doing the end scout. And as his his SCV goes up there, I'm sure we're going to see him throw down that third depot and go for it. So here we go. He sees the Nexus. And yeah, we're going to see just momentarily. Pops into the main base, sees one gateway. This is even a greedy one. No second gateway as of yet. Yeah, and he started that third depot. There it is. So we're going to see him pull probably 8 SCVs here, but he might pull slightly less. The Marines pushed away the probe at the natural. I just saw that occur. And I think we have... There you go. A little bit of bugged watching there. Okay, so it's actually 9 SCVs. He's sending 9 SCVs across. Oh, and he's actually going this way. You can actually like manually click in a slightly different direction and go through the wide opening on the right there towards the Nexus. But it's a 1 gate, so he's actually going to be fine drilling directly up the ramp. Gypsy should be able to bust this pretty easily, but yeah, I mean, Dewalt just has to run. He literally can't fight this. This is way too many units for him. And you see he pulls the probes immediately, making sure he doesn't take too much damage. Gonna target what he can with his Dragoon. You may as well use up those shields and get a little bit of extra damage. No reason not to. Oh, God, he's actually taking a lot of damage. Will Gypsy try to go up the ramp now? He did get a lot of damage there. All right, the Zealot... Oh, my God, the Zealot... So many missed shots there. The Zealot was standing on the high ground. Oh, that was really painful. A second bunker being made, but that is not going to really end up doing anything. You see that range is on the way. In the meantime, that is mines coming up for Gypsy. He has 4 SCVs left in the bunker, all very standard stuff. And yeah, the Nexus going to explode. Now, this is such a common scenario right now. So many people love to go for those Nexus first builds. And when you bust it, you're not actually ahead yet as Terran. Just to throw that out there, okay? Like, you saw Dewalt pull back all his probes. He is very likely up workers right now. And he has 2-gate production. And those range Dragoons are better than anything Terran has in the early game. So what we're going to see is Gypsy lay mines that'll slow this down. And then he'll probably end up adding a factory, getting into siege tanks, and that type of thing. Okay, there you go. The mines just finished. Unfortunately for him, he did lose 1 vulture right before. Now, here comes a Zealot. Ooh, that can actually just walk through the mines. And in fact, Dewalt even saw exactly where they are, so he can micro against them. See, he knows where they're at. Ooh, a little bit off on that micro, but that could be just because it's turn rate 20 high latency. So you can be a little bit off with that. Now, Robo is on the way, pretty standard. We'll probably see Dewalt double expand. And yeah, he's coming across the map. Gonna definitely need that bunker. And there's so few vultures here. This is a little bit of a problem. Normally you want at least 3 vultures to lay mines. He only got 1 vulture's worth of mines out. So it's a bit difficult to hold everything off if Dewalt decided to kind of attack, move across the map. You can see a Zealot leading this path with the Dragoons coming. Siege mode has been going for a while, so it looks like he'll be all right in this regard. I don't think he's going to take any damage from this Dragoon attack. But the big problem for him is going to be... Well, I guess it's not a problem, right, for Gypsy. I don't think he's, like, in trouble here. It's just this game can still be a very difficult game for Gypsy. Generally, you look at a position like this, and you'll actually call it even, because we have 1 factory siege tank production. We have Dewalt sending his probes down for his new Nexus. Like, he has a lot of probes, as you can see. They're, like, Gypsy is probably just catching up in SCVs. Well, like... We'll probably have the same amount of workers right about now. But Dewalt is going to be able to double expand. He can make a lot of units. And it's going to take a while for Gypsy to build up his factory count. So there's no actual attack timings coming up for him or anything like that. And yeah, it's kind of funny because the Nexus first... part of the reason why I said at the beginning we're seeing this position more and more is because... Even if you lose it, as long as you don't fight with your probes... Like, if you fight with your probes and you hold your Nexus, you win. But if you fight with your probes and you lose them and you lose your Nexus, then Terran gets a pretty damn good position. If you end up losing a bunch of probes there, right? Like, you can be very, very low, and Terran can kind of never be in any sort of trouble. But in this type of situation, right? Like, 3rd Nexus coming up. Gypsy can't take his 3rd quite yet. He is getting an armory. So that is going to slow down, like, any sort of move-outs or anything. He's definitely going to have to go for a 3-base build. Meanwhile, Dewalt going into Reaver tech. Gypsy just kind of massing up. Does have some missile turrets in here. So he's pretty ready for Reavers, right? He doesn't know what's coming. You just don't get any scouting with this build. Once you bust that Nexus, right? Like, it takes a really long time to get things like speed on vultures to run around. You can't slip SCVs in. The comstat's going to take a while. You see, he just started it now, so we're still almost a minute and a half out from getting a scan off into the main base. Meanwhile, Citadel going down, as well as the Forge. 3rd gateway. Yeah, all right. So it looks like we're going to get ourselves... probably a big macro game. Now, Gypsy needs to take no damage from this incoming Reaver, and he shouldn't. Like, look at this. He's got 3 missile turrets already. His buildings are actually, like, placed quite well. Starting that 3rd command now. Dewalt actually with perfect scouting. Yeah, it doesn't seem like any real damage can occur. Now, Gypsy's slipping out with a few speed vultures, taking quite a bit of damage on one of them, but that's all right. He definitely needs to get out there and try to gain some intel. His scan can't do everything for you. Now, here comes that Reaver. Ooh, he's going to try to chunk down the missile turret. Takes 2 shots to kill a missile turret. So he pops that, which means the shuttle gets some more play in here, but actually takes additional volleys. Speed now done here as well. Drops a Zealot off to take those siege tank hits. Oh, God. Now the speed shuttle flying down to the natural. This is going to be bad. There's a lot of SCVs in here. Drops out that Reaver, but it gets sniped. Let's see. Okay, that was 2 kills, I want to say. All right, so let's say a turret lost mining time and 2 to 3 SCVs total were killed. So this was actually a very solid defense from Gypsy, despite losing that turret quickly. Dewalt had some good ideas in there, but yeah, got chunked down a bit too quickly by the siege tanks. So everything looking pretty good. We're gonna get into a nice macro game for sure now. Like, look at these supplies. Gypsy is macroing very well. He's not really throwing away any units. Dewalt, of course, the same. Starting to clear some of these mines out on the map that Gypsy recently put here. And some good building walls. As you can see, the vultures really impotent there. Can't get any damage done. Looks like this starport and science facility maybe just slightly late due to that Reaver harassment. Hasn't gotten to start his +2 quite yet, but he'll get it going. Now Gypsy getting ready, floating over this 3rd command center. Since he's already killed the first speed shuttle with Reaver, definitely has to be feeling good. One thing I really want to see from him is quite a few missile turrets and some mines in his main base as well. Yeah, that's a really nice spread of missile turrets. You really have to be aware. Oh, God, he didn't get to start one of those upgrades. That's painful. But you really have to be aware of mass speed shuttles flying in. Like, right? Isn't that how Dewalt got ahead of him in game number 1? You know, like, once you get that speed upgrade, yeah, there it is. 3 speed shuttles ready to get some damage done. The rest of Dewalt's army coming over as well. He is up about 28 supply, rather. Dropping, oh, the vultures out of position. These Zealots getting on top of the siege tanks. A really good spread on that drop, picking off quite a few. And unfortunately for Gypsy, he is losing a lot of siege tanks right there. Keeps 3 alive, but that is a large Dragoon count. Now, with the mines being laid, looks like Gypsy will end up holding. But probably going to be slightly frustrated he was out of position. Yeah, the observer shows us that supply evens up quite a bit. But losing siege tanks, that's like basically the unit you want to keep alive. That kind of... That's the pacing in a lot of ways for Terran on what they can do and how strong their army is that siege tank count. So Gypsy kind of pushing forward. Dewalt just being annoying here, pecking away at the gas. I don't think he expects any more damage, but, you know, these are the little things that you do. All right, flying in. Oh, a Psy Storm drop. Gonna come out. A couple storms going down. All right, not too bad, but doesn't get as much done as I think he was looking for. Time to turret up even more. He's going to need a lot of turrets at his natural and 3rd base to try to slow down these speed shuttle storm drops. Right? Because, like, I know Dewalt, he will continually do this throughout the game now, just looking for that extra damage. There he goes. Brings up a speed shell, drops that Zealot off, trying to drag any mines. And great dodge from Gypsy, but a good 2nd storm as well. Gets a good, like, 6 or 7 SCVs there, it sounded like. All right, Mass Vulture going to hit this bottom left base. That is enough to kill the cannons. Let's see if Dewalt can get units down here in time, because it looks like Gypsy may be able to knock out, like, all of these cannons, huh? And then the probes. So the probes are running, but a little bit late on that, I guess. And now Gypsy might be able to get the Nexus. This is going to be a big moment for him. If he can keep Dewalt on 3 base, the economic damage that he took isn't mattering anywhere near as much. But some great mine drags there from Dewalt. Very precise about how and what he drops out, where he micros it to as well. Meanwhile, Gypsy at home, still macroing up. Having a hard time getting that supply up any higher. He's lost a lot of SCVs, let's not forget. So, losing those SCVs, his army is a bit larger than what his supply looks like, right? Like a 117 supply army is actually not very big or strong, but in this type of situation where you've lost 10, 15 SCVs, maybe a little bit more than that, he's got a much more reasonable army than you would think in this position. Now the Vulture's coming back over to this base. Only a single Dragoon there. He'll be able to kill that off easily. Stargate on the way. We'll be able to take this out as well. Get a few probes in here for good measure. Dragoons just walking up through the mines. Dewalt does not have time to wait for an observer. Or at least that's what he thinks, right? All right, pushes those back finally. Good spread of siege tanks here now. Oh, I saw the spinning cybernetics core. I thought at first that this would be an Arbiter Tribunal, and it still may be. But he's definitely prepping for carriers. So we'll see if he goes directly carriers or he goes Arbiter first. It's much more popular to go Arbiter first. Gypsy's... I feel like... Okay, so Gypsy's scan sees the Stargate, and it sees the spinning Cybernetics core. I'm trying to think if I would prefer to see Dewalt go Carrier or Arbiter here. I think Arbiter is actually a bit better for his build. Utilize Arbiters and Templars to kind of keep your opponent back, continue to get your expands, keep them going. Whereas if you go Carrier, like, the Terran's choice tree becomes very limited. Like, it's... I think it's almost harder to make mistakes against carriers because you simply must attack before they get 6. Like, that's basically it. Like, Gypsy will get his 3-2 upgrades and just kind of go and try to kill him. Anyways, a huge amount of Vultures coming in once again. Dewalt was building a lot of cannons here, but not enough ready. Vultures will get in and deal quite a bit of damage here. Taking out some of the cannons. Looks like they might end up clearing all of the cannons, but the Dragoons a little bit quicker to respond this time, at least. Oh, look at this. On the high ground, the probes holding on. A couple Vultures actually slip up because of that drill. Vultures going towards that bottom left main, but the cannons will help to kill those off as well. Science vessels being produced. I just saw 2 science facilities. Maybe a little bit of nerves here for Gypsy. And there's the additional Stargates also. I'm kind of surprised he didn't make the Arbiter Tribunal. I guess he is a little bit lower on income due to the fact that Gypsy has been raiding with Vultures quite a bit. But wouldn't mind seeing that just to throw him off since he hid the other 2 Stargates. All right, another scan down there to see what's what. 3 speed shuttles flying by. Looks like a siege tank is making a march across the map. Occasionally, you'll try a move like this, where you send a siege tank to a funny location, try to bomb probes or cannons or whatever. Oh, a science vessel. I'm not sure about that one. It probably was a misclick. We see Gypsy kind of macroing up right now. Oh, supply block at 166. I don't know what it is, but that's a very common supply block right now. It's like when your main feels full of depots or something. Anyways, Gypsy gonna have to remedy that pretty quickly here. Looks like he's starting to move forward. I would really like to see that supply block fixed up because Gypsy can basically max out now, which is what you want to do against carrier switches. Like, you want to get max supply and attack. And you basically have to do that like 3 times to kill a carrier player. Yeah, that is a very long supply block, unfortunately. Dewalt maxed out. Gypsy really could be right now as well. You see that gigantic bank for him. Okay, some depots finishing up finally. Really high energy vessels, which is super, super nice here. EMPs, defense matrices, both going to be amazing. All right, now you see him really filling out that supply. Now, Gypsy, we do see that 4th command center. Okay, it looks like he's going to expand over to this side. So the plan for Gypsy, without any doubt, going to be take this base and kill that main base area. Ooh. Great job right there, picking off those High Templars as they drop out before the storms can be cast. More and more units rallying down here for Gypsy. Kind of checking the areas. It's a little bit of a boxing match right now, right? Like, one of them comes up and the other one kind of parries it and pushes them back and forth, back and forth. Seeing who is going to get into that position. Gypsy continuing to push. I don't think Dewalt will try to counter through 12 o'clock. Like, you have to save, you know, you have to save your army when you're going for carriers. Now, you can see in the top left, it says live game broken. So it looks like we are going to be watching the rest of this through Gypsy's point of view. Sorry about that. I mean, this is a live video that we're watching. Anyways, this is Gypsy's point of view. I tell you, this is actually kind of interesting to cast it from just one Terran point of view here. I mean, I stream all the time, but never cast from just one player's vision. Now, here come the carriers. And he doesn't actually have that many Goliaths, right? So maybe he was fooled into thinking it was Arbiters because he didn't scan the additional starports. That's a problem. That's like 6 carriers. Now, the thing is against this, I think in this position, you're supposed to retreat your siege tanks and send vultures everywhere. And what we see Gypsy doing is a very panicked move of sending his whole army around because he doesn't have enough Goliaths. And this does threaten that you'll kill bases, but the carriers can pick off a lot of siege tanks in this time. The siege tanks are so expensive gas-wise, it's very hard to replace. So the carriers are getting a lot of value, a lot of damage here. Obviously, Gypsy has the money that he's replacing them very, very quickly. But that... You know, it is definitely a bit painful. Now, here come those Goliaths pushing him back for now. Not enough quite yet. It looked like it was about 6 carriers, which, like I was mentioning, that's kind of where they start to hit the critical mass, where they do a lot of damage and become quite scary. Against, like, 6 carriers, you definitely want to have at least, what, like 18 Goliaths? Plus, get up to 2 groups, I would say. All right, comes forward, throws an EMP down. You know, EMP, honestly, a lot of people ask about EMPs on carriers. It can be good, but generally they stay out of range, so you're killing interceptors a lot of the time. But if he can get those volleys, he will pick them off very quickly due to that EMP. Now, Gypsy trying to expand to the bottom right. Looks like a Zealot did find him and his plan. The Side Storms on the Goliaths, absolutely fantastic, just like against Hydras. In PvZ, you can see the Goliaths not that adept at moving outside of those storms. All right, Gypsy going to continue to march forward here. His Goliaths have taken a lot of damage. He's really got to force a full engagement from these carriers, I think. Dewalt is taking too much of this map right now. Oh my god, a big storm drop. Oh, just nasty, erasing his mineral line at his 4th base. Looks like there is a little bit of a counterattack as well at his 3rd. And look at this, just storms for days on his Goliaths. Sieging up that bottom left, that's very nice. And it looks like he might be thinking as well about trying to take out 9 o'clock. But there's just not enough Goliaths here, unfortunately. You know, I think it's been a very solid game overall from Gypsy, but I think he maybe misread what he was looking at with the carrier switch, right? If you have the Goliaths ready for that, then you're going to be in decent shape this game, I think, really. I think he did everything else quite well, so definitely a painful moment to be out on the map and have like 3 Goliaths against 6 carriers. He had the money, he had the factories, he had the upgrades to really possibly win this game. I think it would have still been a battle, but looking at the state of the game that it's in right now, this is no longer winnable for Gypsy. You see his gas bank very, very low. He's at like 150 gas. Still decent minerals, but he's just not going to be able to keep up with the production that Dewalt has at this point. See that everything's starting to get on fire here. Yeah, and as these carriers come over, it's getting worse and worse. He's just going to be picking off so much. Some storms try to go down. Carrier, or DT sneaking its way in right there. Another few coming up as well. Protoss players just love those DTs once carriers come out. Gypsy making whatever he can. And that's going to be a GG Dewalt wins game 2 and goes up 2-0.